goal is to not criminalize children.
That premise is based on the fact that they weren't committing capital murder.
Tonight, the justice system in Cameron County is facing a growing challenge. More children as young as 10 are landing in the Juvenile Detention Center. Officials are looking for ways to hold them accountable while trying to steer them away from crime. Stephanie Rosales and photojournalist Carlos Mendoza take a closer look at the complicated balance. It's all part of our special report, Juvenile Justice, you'll only see on 5.
Inside the Darrell B. Hester Juvenile Detention Center in San Benito.
10-4. 10-4, when you're ready, you're cleared.
Guards oversee offenders as young as 10 years old.
It was definitely a scary experience at the start.
9 years ago, Manny Delgado was booked into the facility. He was just 12 years old at the time. He was there because he had been in a fight.
I remember coming through the booking process, taking the fingerprints.
Delgado spent 4 months at Hester and 7 more months at a program out of the valley.
Do you think you took a lot away from that?
My first time, no. It was really tough the first time. I had this bad perception of myself. People were telling me, you know, you've messed up once and you're just going to be in and out of the system.
Delgado is one of hundreds who go through the juvenile system every year.
Over the last 3 years, Darrell B. Hester Juvenile Justice Center has seen an increase in offenses. In 2024, they saw a total of 897. It's a slight increase from what they had in 2023, where they saw a total of 893. However, there's a major difference from what they saw in 2022. That year, they had a total of 809.
In the last year, the increase has caused concern for those who work with young offenders, including the Cameron County District Attorney Luis Saenz.
I can tell you that the feeling of the community is that not enough is being done to deal with the influx of juvenile criminal conduct.
He believes there's a serious problem with young offenders and repeat crimes. DA Saenz feels the laws need to be updated to modern problems. The Juvenile Justice Code was enacted back in 1975. It says a child can be released as long as they have an adult to supervise them.
The juvenile back then was committing simple acts of criminal mischief, simple misdemeanor acts, and that's what they're premised on.
Saenz feels more needs to be done when it comes to holding young offenders accountable.
I can't give you the name of a juvenile. I can't tell you who he is. I can't post his picture. The public doesn't know who they are, and they take advantage of that.
The DA believes juveniles have learned how to manipulate the system.
They have come to learn how to stand in front of the judge and hang their head and cry a little bit and say they're not going to do it again, and they're released and they go home.
They have to read their own rights.
Adela Kowalski Garza is the judge those young offenders in Cameron County see. While she agrees the kids coming into her courtroom have changed, she believes in the process she's following.
Sometimes the DA's office and even probation, they want a felony adjudication after the 6 months. And I sometimes give them another chance. And that sometimes is problematic for some people.
She took over as judge of the 484th Juvenile Court in 2022. Since then, she's paid attention to the young offenders coming down her halls.
The majority are just good kids making a bad choice.
She knows some of them are capable of bad.
I do give a lot of chances, but I think that my ideas are working. And in my opinion, they're working. Just give it time.
She also feels the juvenile justice system is not a one-size-fits-all process because every child is different.
You look at the juvenile's background to understand what happens next, correct?
I look at the juvenile's background, including mental illness is a big issue. And when there's instability in the house, it's very difficult to work with a child that does not have the structure in their home.
She says while the laws are the same, courts treat children and adults differently.
It's a hybrid of two laws. It's criminal on the one side because the crime has criminal components, And on the other hand, it's civil because we don't want to criminalize children.
The judge also says they've needed to make changes at the Juvenile Detention Center to evolve with offenders.
Because of safety protocol and because some children have become more violent lately in the last decade or so, the security measures are very similar to the adult system.
Judge Garza's court offers different programs to help rehabilitate a child. This includes counseling services, therapy through arts and crafts, and music.
And I try to let them know that those chains that they're wearing, that uniform that they're wearing, does not define them.
She says the majority of offenders are kids caught with vape pens that contain THC.
Does it alarm you, or is it a shock to hear that there's been a continuous increase in possession of controlled substance?
Unfortunately, it's not shocking. It's just disheartening that it continues to happen.
Dr. Alcides Almador is a child and adolescent psychiatrist and assistant professor of psychiatry at UT-RGV. He agrees with Judge Kowalski Garza that a crime should not define a child. Dr. Amador says juvenile offenders now deal with more complex issues. That includes families under financial strain or substance abuse in the home.
That means that the child doesn't have the most positive role models set in their home, so it might lead them to have an increased risk of falling into criminality themselves. And with the current state of how our things are for our economy, rising prices, there could be a connection, right? But it's very complex.
Dr. Amador says high school students are more aware of issues at home and can be influenced by social media. He recommends parents pay attention to how their children are spending their time and the type of influence it may have on them. Back at the district attorney's office, DA Saenz is advocating for change.
It's very problematic because the premise doesn't match the reality. The premise was, let's, rehabilitate these youngsters. Let's not felonize them. And I get it. I understand that. That is a good premise, but that premise is based on the fact that they weren't committing capital murder.
The district attorney feels that the community needs to be more involved in demanding more from state lawmakers.
And asking them to do something about putting some teeth into the juvenile system that is failing our community.
As for Delgado, he still reflects back from time to time on his moments with the juvenile system. He said it wasn't until the second time he was detained that helped him change after talking with another teenager who was a repeat offender.
He was telling me, you don't want this for you. You see all of these other people here. Maybe they're here for, crime reasons. Maybe they're here because they have no one to support them. You can go back home.
Manny says he feels it was his upbringing that had an impact on him and his decisions, like going through the foster system.
Thinking back to where you were 12 years old, maybe even before that, did you see yourself doing any of that?
No, not at all. I mean, when I look at my past compared to where I am now, I mean, it's been a lot of progress.
Now at age 21, Manny is a martial arts instructor and a first-degree black belt. He's also earned a bachelor's degree in criminal justice. He says his motivation was to set an example for his siblings. Now he's working towards his dream job.
Every little thing that's happened has helped build me to the person I am today. I'm here, I'm able to, support myself. I'm able to support my brother. I'm in a very good position. I've worked hard.
While some young offenders like Manny find a life away from crime, others don't. Last year in Cameron County, 2 juveniles were tried as adults and convicted of murder. In the court system right now, 7 others will also be tried as adults for murder and aggravated robbery. Both DA Saenz and Judge Kowalski Garza agree there is a critical need for a balanced juvenile justice system, one that guides more young lives away from crime. Stephanie Rosales, Channel 5 News.